and then keep it
if
moving.
people could box and they knew what to do, it probably the knife crime and things would probably stop, because I think it's more of a scared thing. You pick up a knife or something because you don't know what else to do. That's the only thing you know what to do. But if you know how to box, it's kind of, it's what you know.
Bismillah, assalamu alaikum. Today we are with our brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, akhi. Jake.
Jake.
Name? What's
that's
his surname?
right. Jake Henty.
Henty. Cool. And barakallah fiqh for coming, bro. Appreciate
right,
you coming
of course.
through. And we usually like to get straight into it. So I know at the moment you do boxing. That's what your man was telling me.
That's it. Yeah, I box. Yeah.
What's your background in boxing?
I boxed as an amateur, so I've been boxing since I started about 6 years old. I started boxing down at the Gumshield boxing gym down in Eltham.
Okay.
So
What's it called?
The Gumshield boxing
Gumshield
Eltham Boxing Club.
Okay.
That's what it used to be called. So yeah, I've been down there since 6 years old. So I won a few national titles, 3 national titles.
MashaAllah.
Boxed for GB, boxed for England. So yeah, went Europeans and things like that, 3 nations, which is Ireland, Scotland, Wales, won that. So yeah, my amateur background was decent. But,
Did you get to the Olympics or anything like this?
yeah, no, I would have liked to, but I fell off because I had a shoulder injury at the time.
Oh.
So when I was on the GB, I kind of got forgotten about, because before I turned pro, I had 4 years off because I had a shoulder injury, I had a rotator cuff tear and whatnot. So
Through
yeah,
boxing,
put me back. But yeah, inshallah, I'm good now. So back on it.
How come you got into boxing at a young age?
My cousins used to box, so for me it was kind of, my dad was football and my cousins were boxing, and I don't know, at the time it's kind of, the boxing was inside, so I thought it's nice, it's warm, so I'll stay in here. Rather than getting outside on the pitch on a Sunday, I thought I'll stay inside in a warm gym.
You know, one of the things, Jake,
Yeah.
thank you for coming. There's a boxer, soldier, he's young, 17 now.
Yeah, I've seen him.
You see he
on
comes to the
social
mosque.
media.
So took Shahada when he was about maybe 16. Yeah, and so he had a fight, like amateur fight coming up. So he goes, look, please come and watch me. Family be there, you come as the imam. So I went to watch him, and it's mainly like youngsters, kids. 2 things I learned. One is boxing gives you confidence. These kids are coming confident. So it gives you that sense of confidence. The walk, the greetings, they don't care about who's supporting who. I'm coming to fight, and I've got myself on my back.
Confidence, discipline.
That's one. Number 2, humility. Even if they lose, if we get punched in the face, no, you won, shake hands. 99% of them, confidence and humility. So that's the positives I got out of
Boxing.
Yeah, see, that's what's crazy about boxing. You train so hard for it, and then you get in a ring, you basically beat each other up, and then you shake hands and you're friends. And you remember that for life. Like I go back to the amateurs now, people that are boxing when I was 6, 7 years old, and you see them out and around, and you say, oh, like, it's good that you remember people. In the boxing, it's like a small little world. Everyone knows each other. It's crazy. You remember it for life, because once you share the ring with someone, it's kind of like, it's part of your life kind of thing. Part of your journey.
Shane, you remind me, Shane was saying something. So Shane was like in Downham, and a kid from one of the local schools got stabbed.
Yeah, I heard.
Shane happened to be there. It's like maybe 2 months ago. Anyway, he's gone to the boy, helped him, kind of like stopped his blood flowing, called the ambulance and so on. One of the things he told me afterwards, he said, you know what? If these youngsters just have like a problem, or as beef as they say, get them to a boxing gym. Fight it out like men. You know?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
We could have some more of that nowadays.
No knives, no guns, no nothing. Box it out. The guy who wins, fine. Shake hands after that. And then keep it moving.
If people could box and they knew what to do, the knife crime and things would probably stop, because I think it's more of a scared thing. You pick up a knife or something because you don't know what else to do. That's the only thing you know what to do. But if you know how to box, it's kind of, it's what you know.
You can defend yourself.
You resort back to that. So
Interesting.
Yeah, even if you look back at the so-called old gangsters, Craig twins, all of that kind of stuff.
Different back then.
They used to do more of the fist game.
Yeah,
And it was only if you was going to kill someone, that you take it to.
Yeah.
You have to take it. It wasn't just roll around with a gun or a knife every day in case someone hits me or whatever. They knew how to fight.
That's right.
And as the years go on, that you do get to a stage where we are today, where no one knows how to fight. So the easiest thing to do is to just take out a knife or whatever. Do you get what I mean?
No, that's it. But no, with boxing, the best thing that I've learned is everyone that I know that boxes, I mean, some people fell off, but most of the people that got into it, it's kind of discipline. Because from a young age, you can't eat certain things, you have to train all the time. And it kind of, that goes through your whole life. So for me, that's why Islam was so, for me to go to it, a lot of people, when they come from like Christianity or something else, it's hard for them to give up the drink. It's hard for them to give up the food. But I was already halfway there. The boxing already had me doing that because the discipline was crazy. So, yeah, no, it's the box is always discipline. You take that through your whole life.
Yeah, 100%. Go back a few years. So originally, where you born, where you raised?
Shooters Hill. I was born in Sidcup Hospital, but yeah, always been in Shooters Hill. That kind of like more well inside.
Yeah.
So schooling. I was at Eastcote Primary School, so in Welling, and secondary school. It weren't really. I was at secondary school for like a year.
Okay.
I got kicked out of 2 schools. I went to Harris Academy, Falconwood.
Okay.
And then I went Abbeywood Centre, and I was only there for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So yeah, no schooling. I finished school at 13. And I've been kind of working and doing bits and pieces since then.
Yeah.
Trying to tick over, but yeah.
That's what I think. Look, one of the things, like, let's say education. Remember, education is also, it doesn't have to be schooling. Education can be kind of like very kind of like wide and comprehensive. But boxing probably kept you on a straight and narrow.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. For a few years, I kind of fell off. And I went kind of, I wouldn't say wow, but I fell off a track. But then the boxing come back to me about 4 years later, because the operation, at the time it was COVID. At the time I had the operation, I had to wait for that for 2 years, because at the time I had to do it I was on the NHS. So I had to wait for that to get done. So that was 4 years off. So I kind of fell off. I was working, doing this and doing that. But then the boxing kind of brought me back onto track. So yeah, no, I'm happy that I'm back on it now.
So when you go back to the school situation, do you ask yourself like why you got kicked out?
Yeah, I was kind of disruptive at school. I got in quite a lot of trouble. We used to miss school a lot as well. So yeah, I never really see eye to eye with other people. I was always like to be on my own. Never had a lot of friends. Kind of stuck on my own kind of thing. So
because you had maybe a strong unity with your cousins, your brothers, or was it just that you like to be by yourself? Regardless?
Yeah, no, I kind of like being by myself regardless. I mean, boxing was always I was always on my own. It was kind of a lonely sport. I was used to being on my own, getting up in the morning, running on my own, training on my own. I never really wanted to make friends. I never wanted to fit in. So that was kind of a thing, because I was always an outsider kind of at school. So that used to cause the disruption.
Or was you an outsider necessarily just because, like, boxing or culture-wise, or what?
It's kind of just, I don't know really. Like, I kind of just always felt different to other people. Always had, like, boxing always kept me disciplined, but other people weren't disciplined. They wanted to go out, they wanted to party, they wanted to do this, wanted to do that, even at a young age. And even parties, or like house parties at the time.
Yeah, no.
I was never into that. I just thought, why do they want to do that? I want to go out and train. So we was 2 different people. So I thought, I'm this way, you're that way. I ain't mixing the 2 together. So yeah,
Allah had Islam planned for you.
Yeah. So when I come into Islam, it was kind of easy for me.
Yeah, we'll come to that. To that, because that was an interesting journey. You know, but going back to his point, I mean, look, okay, you don't have to be like friends with people who are going to parties or house parties, but somebody or a group of guys who are into boxing, or a group of guys who are into football. Did you have that? Or are you just a person that's individualistic? Yeah,
so that was my kind of thing. So the people that went to the gym, like the boys in the gym, they're my friends now. So it was kind of like the people in the gym, the people that was doing the same kind of things with me, that's who I would mix with. It was never the people that was going out doing this, partying and this, that and other. So I feel like the people that went to school was different to the boys I was boxing, because in my boxing gym, it's probably 90% travellers. So it was a different kind of kind of people, different kind of lifestyle.
Was your background also traveller?
No, my background's not traveller, no, but all my friends
were travellers
at the gym. I think it was probably 90% travellers in the gym at that time at the Repton Boxing Club. So they were my friends.
Okay.
So I never had no interest.
You know what? I remember school days, I forgot his name now, probably Billy was his name or something, this kid. But most travellers that I knew could fight.
Yeah, they're all pretty good boxers. I suppose there's so many of them do it.
Yeah. Or why is that like a thing? Why is that a thing in their culture, like to fight?
I just think it's kind of old fashioned. Like some things are set back in time. So I think they're still doing things like the fighting, no knife crime, things like that. They've always fought with their hands. It's old school, traditional. It's like, well, when you go to school, everything's new words coming out every week, new jokes coming out every week. Well, they're very like back in time.
Yeah, they're stuck to their culture.
They're stuck to their culture, yeah.
Even that, you know, like they can have a dispute, the men, and say, look, let's sort it out with her.
Yeah, that's it. They have a dispute and have a fight, rather than...
And whoever wins,
he's the man.
That's it. Okay, fine, you won. And that's it. And it's finished. So it is like
that is the original way, weren't it?
Yeah,
just
that's
fight
it. The
things out.
original way, fighting, and that's it. That's
And whoever wins just walks off. That's manly kind of stuff. Obviously, we've just gone to the new movie days where someone has to have the last laugh now.
Yeah.
That's what it's got to. Whereas before, it would be like, you're the man, you beat me, cool, like, wear dues,
Yeah.
and then you walk your separate ways.
So I was brought up with quite an old-fashioned way. So that is how I like to be. When I went to school, it was all this new stuff, the new stuff going on. So I never really settled for that.
What about parents and parents' influence? Do they influence you towards boxing? Did they have an impact on you? You know?
No, my dad at the time, he didn't really push me towards boxing. I kind of chose it for myself. He took me down to the gym when I was young, bought me a pair of gloves. And I just loved it ever since, never looked back.
He didn't have to discipline you, because you have some households where the dad has to be on your back.
No, he was on my case. Like, if sometimes I'm a bit lazy, I didn't want to run, he'd tell me go out and go running, or he'd tell me, today you got to go to the gym. Diet. He's always on to me, but never pushed me too hard.
Of course.
Because he did. My dad was a good football player, but
So
his
you don't
father
understand
pushed him.
discipline,
Yeah, his father pushed him so much that it pushed him away from it. So he didn't want to do the same thing.
Yeah. How was relationship at home? So did you have a mum, father?
Yeah,
till
mum
now?
and dad. Yeah, they're still together now. Been together 35 years. Yeah, been together a long time.
Brothers, sisters.
Brother, sister, 2 brothers and a sister, but step brothers.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Are you the oldest, youngest, or
Youngest?
you're the youngest?
Yeah. My mother's only child. So
Okay.
they're from my father's side. Yeah, previous.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't lived as a one nuclear family?
No, they're a lot older than me. So my oldest brother's like 42.
Okay.
So he's a lot older than me. And then my other brother's around the same kind of age, 2 or 3 years different. So
in essence, in your house, you was the only...
I was the only one in the house. Yeah, I was on my own. Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy.
And when you got into boxing early, but I think you mentioned 6, 7, of course. As a youngster, you got to be doing something else. So, okay, schooling is taking place at that stage. But later on, let's say when you're 16, 17, you're doing boxing. Were you doing anything else, as in, let's say, education or work-wise or apprenticeship-wise? Or were you going to college?
So I was boxing at the time, and I was doing a little bit of work. So I've always done kind of work on my own, like whether it be roofing or something like silly, like jet washing or something, just small little jobs, anything that I could really get at the time, because boxing is a kind of a sport where you need to tick over financially until your career kicks off. It's not like football. Football kicks off from the start. So with boxing, I was always working boxing, just waiting till the boxing kind of started to take off kind of thing. But obviously with the 4 year with the injury put me back. So I was at that point, I was working and just trying to get money anywhere I could, really.
How was the atmosphere like as a youngster? Because obviously many of the people that we interview, some went to streets, some stayed on a straight and narrow path. What was life like for you at that young age?
As a young age, I went down that street path for a while. And yeah, for quite a few years until I was at least 18.
Okay.
I was going down that road, quite a bad road at the time. But
is that because of the atmosphere of the area?
Yeah, just the atmosphere of the area and the people that I was around at the time. That was the thing to do. And with no schooling and no jobs, you don't really know what else to do. So that's what I think a lot of people around that time in that area was getting up to. Obviously, no school and thing as well. I was mixing around with the wrong people. Yeah. But then when the boxing come back on track, I started watching it and I started seeing my friends start becoming boxers and they started doing well. And I was like, so most of the time I was better than them or just as good. Why am I hanging around here and I could be up trying to do something else, something better for my life? So
it's really true that, we always come back to it, but how the Prophet ﷺ talks about, your companionships. Whoever you keep as your companion, akhi, is key in this world, man. Like, just that's a clear example right there. The fact that you was rolling with these other guys, but then as soon as you saw a friend that you used to hang around with doing well in boxing, you're like, I could be like him. Yeah. So you choose who your friends, and depending on who you're choosing to be with, in essence, it also decides who you're going to be in the future. Because if you chose to stick with those dudes, God knows where you be today.
That's true.
Do you get what I mean? So it's just a key lesson for people watching, like, friendship is a very important thing to choose in life. And I always used to tell my kids when they used to go to school, like that first day of school, when you're teaching your kids new lessons, choose your friends wisely. Because whoever you choose today, in essence, is going to determine who you be in the future.
Yeah, once you're going in a certain path in a certain way, it's very hard to get out of it.
100%.
And unless you've got other kind of good people around you to pull you out of it. But most of the time, when you're doing the bad things, them people, they don't know no different. So you always need someone else. You gotta have good people around you. That's 100%.
There's a statement of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. In Arabic, he says like, "تخيروا." Be selective in choosing your spouse. The word nutfikum is used, which kind of like means where you're going to put your sperm in.
Yeah.
So not only is it selective towards your spouse,
choose who your child is going to bear, basically.
The children are affected by it also. So yeah. So the same thing here with friendship, because the wording actually used in Arabic it's like a person will be on the religion of his khalil, close friend. But then the Messenger of Allah says, be careful. فَلْيَنْظُرْ. Yeah, so look out for who you're going to be close to, because as Abdul Latif is saying, they have an impact. How many youngsters, Islam is fitrah. It's like racism. We say, look, children are not racist. Society changes them. Children generally smoking, they find it detestable. Yeah. First time they kind of like, smell smoking. It's like, this is bad. What is this? Until you're around it. Then your friend is smoking. Your friend gives you something, normalizes it, desensitizes it, and then you become a smoker. So I think that is key. The other thing I wanted to ask you though, Jake, when you were like amateur boxing,
right?
Yeah, of course you're traveling, and there's costs
all over the country.
Was there any financial support from Amateur Boxing Association? Or?
No, not really, no support at all. It was kind of at the time my mum and dad was taking me everywhere, but it was kind of like it was trips up and down the country. So my dad was happy. Do you know what I mean? Go here, go there, go for a bit of food. So yeah, it was good. And we went as a club, as a team.
Okay.
So it was good because all their parents used to go and watch them box. My parents used to come. So it was like more of a social thing than anything else.
Everyone goes together.
Yeah, it was a big social thing. It was good. It was like it was kind of like a brotherhood kind of thing. So yeah, it was good. Amateur boxing was probably the best days of boxing, because now as a professional, now it's lonely. You're kind of on your own most of the time. But back then there was 80, 90 boys at that time in the gym. So the gym was packed.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
How did you find, obviously you said you was on the streets for like 4 years. Again, what was the pivot back? You mentioned a bit about you saw a friend of yours.
Yeah, so the pivot back really was I started seeing a lot of my friends go to jail and things like that. And I just thought to myself, do I want this for myself? And my parents, I've got good parents. So they sat there and they said, what are you doing with your life? Like, you was good at boxing, you was good at this, you was good at that. Why out of all things you could choose, you wanna revert, you wanna go back to that again? So they kind of pulled me away from it and they said, sit there and have a think about your life. What do you want? And it kind of hit home. And I thought to myself, I've got to change things up, and I've got to get back on the boxing and do something that I enjoy. Because every other week, another one of my friends would go to jail, and they was like, it's only going to be a matter of time before it's you. So they was like, why don't you change your life now before it's too late? Because they said you can always, even though you wouldn't want to go back to work or do something like that, you can always go back to that. You can never go back to boxing. So I was like, I'm going to make it count now. Yeah.
So basically your mum and dad kind of
they
pushed you.
Yeah. They kind of pushed me away from it, and I had good friends at boxing. They was like, wow, like you used to be better than him. Why are you not doing it? So yeah, it kind of all hit home at that time, and then that's when I got back on track with the boxing. Yeah.
And how was boxing starting back again then? And is that when you started with the Elton one again?
Yeah, it was. No, where did I start back to? I went back to Elton for a little while. Then I trained at Ben Davis' gym over in Harlow. Then now I'm in Liverpool.
Is that the same one that trained up with Gypsy King? Whatever his name?
Yeah, that's it. Gypsy King. Billy Joe was there. Okay. We got fighters like Chris Congo. Okay. There's a few good fighters. I think Anthony Joshua's there now.
Is he?
But I was there. But yeah, I started back up at the Elton Club because I knew them from when I was young. So they was kind of like home from home to me.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you got to try and move on and find what's better and things like that. But now I'm currently training up in Liverpool with the Smith brothers, Callum, Liam Smith, them brothers, Stephen and Paul Smith.
Okay.
So that's Paul Smith's my manager, Stephen Smith my trainer.
Okay.
So I'm currently up there training now. But it's...
And how does it work? Say, for example, someone wants to get into it now at this age, 17, 16. How does it work to even become a boxer?
Just turn up to the gym, and what they do is it'll be like a trial day. So they put you in with sparring, they put you in with like a little bit of pads and things like that, and see how you like it. But it's kind of like it's kind of fight or flight. a lot of kids get into it. Like when I first started, that I will say my dad used to push me. Like I used to get in a ring and hated getting hit. I didn't enjoy it because you're young at the time. You're 6 years old. You used to spar people that are 10, and it was used to hurt. You used to get nosebleeds, and you used to think, "Well, why am I doing this for? I could do something else." But it's kind of, you got to persevere with it and stick to it, and kind of
courage.
You got to have courage. But once you get over that fear stage, there's a good side of it. You start enjoying it.
And is it a matter of like the trainer or someone in the gym sees you and says, "Okay, we can push you onto something else," or is it a choice that you come with?
You gotta have heart. I think so. I think some people have it or you haven't got it. That's why when you go into the gym, they always trial it with the boxing, because you either got heart, you ain't. You can't. I don't think you can build it. Because I've seen a lot of people. There's like 95% of people that turn up to a boxing gym, they end up walking away.
Okay.
Soon as like
so you're saying it's not even about the skill necessarily. It's more about
it's more about what's in your heart. Yeah, because in boxing, it's like in life. Things are gonna get hard, and you see some people fall off when it gets hard, and some people carry on. You gotta be able to carry on and keep going. You gotta have. I think with the boxing, you gotta have a lot of heart.
Yeah.
It reminds me like one time, Muhammad Ali was fighting. I think it was like a Joe Frazier fight. Yeah, 1970s. My age, yeah, I'm giving my age away. And basically, his jaw broke.
I didn't know his jaw broke. I heard about that.
Frazier,
He just kept. You can see afterwards. He's holding it in, and he fought all the way through to the end.
Yeah, that's it. So he was hospitalised. He was in hospital for 5 or 6 weeks after that fight with Joe Frazier. Both of them was.
Yeah, and I think at that time, was it 15 rounds?
About 15 rounds, maybe.
15 rounds. Yeah. So that's what you call it. Heart. These guys had heart.
Got to have heart.
Yes, but in terms of Jake. So, how many fights have you had? Professional fights?
Professional fights, I've had 7. My last fight was a 10-rounder. It was meant to be for a Southern Area title, but it got cancelled the day before. Okay. So that was, to have 10 rounds, 7 fights in, is pretty quick. Because a lot of people go down the route of fighting journeyman and things like that. And my first few fights, it was kind of like that, because it's kind of like the practice stage. And what a journeyman is they get in there to kind of, they're not there to win. They're just there for you to kind of practice and get into boxing kind of
what, journeyman?
Yeah, journeyman they're called, yeah. So you get in there and you kind of, they're not there to win, but they're there to kind of give you a little bit of like an introduction to the program kind of thing. That most of them have had like 300 fights and probably 290 losses. Okay. Like they're not there to win, they're just there, they're durable and there to give you kind of practice before you go on to the next level. But after 7 fights, taking a 10-rounder was kind of like quite a big step up for me at that time.
So 7 fights, 7 wins.
7 fights, 7 wins.
Okay. And in terms of, does it pay well? Is it enough to kind of like sustain a lifestyle?
It depends who you are. If you come out of the Olympic background, you come out of a GB background, or you come from, I don't know, a lot of people with sponsorship or whatnot, it's all right. It's good financially, it's all right. Promoters want you because you just come out of GB, you just come out of the Olympics and whatnot. But where I had the 4-year layoff, I had to kind of restart my whole career over again, which was hard. And I knew it was going to be hard. It was kind of like no financial backing. When you only get paid when you fight, and unless you've got sponsorship, you've got no income. So it's boxing's hard, but it gets better. You just got to have sabr. Take your time with it. Take the right fights at the right time. Because boxing is dangerous. You never know what's going to happen next.
So do you think like business-wise as well, like to have a side thing? Or is it just 100% fully?
Me personally, when I first started, I had a side thing at the time. But to do boxing, you need to devote 100% of your energy and your time into boxing. There can't be nothing else. I mean, it's hard. And a lot of boxers have to struggle. If you look at like Khabib and McGregor and all them kind of people, and they've done interviews in the past, they had nothing until even Tyson Fury, they had nothing until they got where they got. So I think you just have to have patience and try and just train hard and out-train your competition, and eventually, inshallah, you'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big risk though. That's the only thing with that sport.
It's a big risk, but
similar to like footballers. I see many footballers who put in the work when they're young, like proper skilled as well. I've seen many who used to do football for the youth. Some, probably 1% make it, and the rest of the 99% don't make it. So to put your all in it, I agree. In anything in life, you should put your all in it. But some things are very risky and is very unlikely to get into. Yeah. And so having a side business, whether it could be online business, something, it would be smart, is what I would say to a lot of people. But obviously, if you know within your talent, you know 100% I can get there, that's the difference. If you got a level of conviction, if you ain't got that conviction.
Yeah, I feel like with boxing, I've always said to myself, you can't have plan B. You have to make plan A work. Because without that, you're always going to be thinking, oh, what if I could try this, I could try that. And that was a problem because that's another way of falling back into the bad things because you're like, oh, I could probably make money doing this and money doing this. But unless you put 100% time and dedication into boxing, plan A ain't going to work.
Yeah, you got to burn the ship sometimes.
But yeah, you just got to get through it. You can always go back to work. Work's always going to be there. But boxing and time and youth isn't going to be there. So I always want
psychologically as well. That sport, I think football's a bit different. Or boxing, such a discipline demand from you that psychologically you don't have a plan B or a C. You just got to be this because you got to give it 101%.
You can't be two sides of the fence with boxing. Yeah. It's either one side or the other. They can't mix it.
But also keep in mind, it's kind of like one big fight. You know, you get one big fight, like a title fight. Yeah. That's going to bring a lot of kind of like money in. Yeah. No, then you can do something like what he might be suggesting. Yeah. Invest something in real estate or something. Yeah. So you got to invest.
That's all. Yeah.
Which is what most of them do anyway. After that, once they make it, a lot of them do start investing. You see, what's his name? Khabib has got like his own now gym place. That's right. I think Joshua invested a lot in other companies. So,
but no, as you're coming up, every fight you get. I mean, when you first start fighting, it's all about ticket sales. How many tickets you sell or sponsorship. So, but when you start getting not decent purses, but all right purses. Start putting it into property, putting it into houses and other stuff, and just try and make a kind of like an investment into boxing. That's what a lot of boxers do. They start getting it and start spending it. Yeah. But you got to start saving it and putting it into something. Start investing your money slowly.
Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah. Because now, look, you got Islam. Yeah. So Islam, you know, you ain't going to be into that wasting lifestyle.
No, that's right, definitely.
Yeah. So inshallah, that will keep you.
No, Islam's helped boxing a lot. It's
helped your boxing.
Yeah, it's been a massive. A massive help to my boxing, discipline wise. Even like when I look at like tawakkul?
Tawakkul, yeah.
Yeah, tawakkul, trust in Allah. So before your fights, I'll be praying, and I'll be. It just gives you confidence. You think I train as hard as I can, and I leave the rest to Allah.
Okay, mashallah, very good.
I mean, a lot of people think, I leave it all down to God. I just leave everything down to God. But no, you got to put all the work in, and then the rest, the final parts. Yeah, leave down to Allah.
There's a statement of a man asking Prophet Muhammad, should I tie my camel?
Yeah.
Or leave it and put my trust in Allah? He said, no, tie it.
Yeah.
And as well as put your trust in Allah. So meaning you know, do the training, have the discipline, and then put your trust in Allah.
Well, also understood by tie your camel, or some people might not understand what tie your camel
meaning
means.
In olden days, let's say like, you know, even in Saudi, you have this thing
around the head.
It's called iqal. That's really coming from tying the legs of the camel.
Okay.
So meaning the camel doesn't run away.
Okay.
So meaning, you know, should I just leave the
camel? So the nature of a camel is to run away?
It's just to walk away, drift or something. But you put that, it's not going to go far. It's going to restrict it. So do that and put your trust in Allah, rather than just leave it and say, look, I'm putting my trust in Allah.
Yeah, don't just put everything on Allah.
In fact, that is real putting your trust in Allah. That you're going to take all the means which are necessary to achieve something, as well as put your trust in Allah. Because Allah's given you tools, intellect, which are supposed to be used and so on. Jake, the other thing was, in terms of promoters now, promoters, are they like agents? Are they like managers?
So you got a manager.
Man's looking for a job, that's why I gone.
Yeah. No,
I thought when he said, you know, if somebody wants to get into it,
well, new manager,
by himself, said, no, you're too old for that.
My heart is in it though.
Yeah.
I just might not have the skill no more.
Yeah.
God.
No, so the manager, his job is to try and find you a promoter. So at the minute, when I started, I was with Frank Warren.
Okay.
And then I had a fight with Channel 5 Wasserman. But right now, I'm kind of...
What's his name? Channel 5 Wasserman?
Wasserman, yeah. So they're on Channel 5.
Oh, he's on Channel 5. I'm thinking his name is Channel 5. What's going on with these graphs now, man?
Yeah, so it's Wasserman on Channel 5.
Okay.
So I was with them for one fight as well. But at the minute, I'm kind of just looking around trying to find a promoter. My last fight was for the Southern Area for the 10-rounder. So that kind of got me up in the rankings, got me up a little bit. So now I'm gonna go back to Liverpool soon. My manager is looking for a fight now for me. Hopefully another 10-rounder, maybe for some kind of title like a WB. I think they're called WBCs or WBO Intercontinentals or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna look for them little titles now and start trying to push on.
Inshallah.
Okay. Have you had any title, you know, like Southern Region or
as I said, my last fight was meant for the Southern Area title, but the day before the person that held the title didn't want to vacate. So I trained for like 8 weeks for the fight. Then the day before, he pulled out the title. So in the end, it was for nothing.
What do you mean vacate? What does that mean?
So so if you're a champion, you hold a title.
Yeah.
But they can either hold it or they can vacate it. So when they vacate it, they basically say someone else can fight for it because I'm moving on to the next step. But they realize last minute, no, I'm going to keep it. I don't want to vacate. And that was literally the day before the fight. They pulled.
Okay.
But you can't still fight him for it.
I could fight him for it, but at the time I was fighting someone else for that because it's an eliminator.
Okay.
It was more of an eliminator fight. So
you win that one, then you go for that one or something.
You win that one and go into that one. So that's where it was in the end. It was an eliminator for the southern area. But then I dropped down and I've dropped down a weight now. Okay. I went from welterweight, now I've gone to super light. So the eliminator was really for nothing because I'm really going down to a lighter weight.
What's your reasoning for that now? Why are you changing your weight?
I went to see a strength coach and like a nutritionist, and they said you got a lot of weight to come off. They said you're too small for your weight. So I'm gonna go down to super light. I'll be bigger at my weight, stronger at my weight. So it's worth going down.
Okay. Moving forward, so you took Shahada at the mosque, at the masjid. It was a quiet day, probably about 3-4 o'clock.
Yeah, bad day, raining.
Raining. I was in the office, and I think somebody said, "Look, from the reception, there's a brother here. He wants to take your Shahada." You came in on your own, and you took your Shahada. What led you to taking Shahada, becoming a Muslim?
Well, so I was looking into Islam for quite a few months. So I was always Christian before, and I used to pray regularly. I used to pray a lot because I've always been kind of a religious person. Always been like kind of looking for something like asking for God, kind of like for help me with this, help me for that. Even in bad times, I always needed help from God. So one day I put on a podcast, and at the time I listened to like the motivational videos. I was listening to a lot of them, and all of a sudden a lot of Islamic ones come up, and I started listening to them, and I thought, you know what, I'm not really into Islam, don't really know what it's about, but I'm gonna start as it come on. I thought, why not? I'm gonna listen to it. So I started listening to the podcast and whatnot, and they started saying that like Allah is like, it's one God. Muslims worship one God, and the meaning of Islam means submission to one God. And I didn't realize that at the time. I thought just Islam was just a crazy word for a whole different religion. I was like, Islam's a complete different religion, like a crazy religion. Like, I don't know vibe. But when they started saying Islam was submission to one God, I was like, when I go to pray, sometimes I'm praying to Jesus. I'm like, oh, please, Jesus, can I have this? Please, God, can I have this? I'm like, who am I praying to? I thought, who am I praying to? So when the whole Islam thing, I started, when it made sense to pray to one God. So then I was driving back from Harlow in a boxing gym one day, and I've been going on about taking my Shahada for a while. My mum works at Hilly Fields Medical Centre. Okay. So I'm always driving past Lewisham Mosque. Yeah, Brockley, yeah. So I'm always driving past the mosque. So one day I said, oh, well, I want to go in there today, but I don't know how to take my Shahada. So I rang up the man on the phone, and I said, I want to become Muslim. How do I do it? He said, well, you're going to have to come in, you're going to have to take your Shahada. So it was I was nervous. I was like, oh, I've never...
You rang who?
I spoke to him. I rang up the mosque.
Office,
I rang up the reception office.
Jake picked up probably.
Yeah, and I said, I want to become Muslim. I don't know how to become a Muslim. What do I do? He said, come in there and you're going to have to take your Shahada. And I was like, all right, I'll come in and we'll see what it's all about. So I come in, I met you, and I think it was it Muhammad? Muhammad. Yeah. So I'm Muhammad as well. So I come in, took my Shahada, but I'd never been in a mosque before. So I didn't know where to go, what to do.
Yeah, that was your first time in a mosque as well?
Yeah. First time in a mosque ever. Never been in a mosque in my life.
Mad.
So I walked in, but I said, today's the day I got to do it. So I parked in the Shell garage, pouring down with rain, got a parking ticket the same day.
Oh, that's what I said. It was a bad day.
Bad day. But I come in, took my Shahada, and it was kind of, as soon as I took it, it was relief for all the things that in life that I feel like I've done wrong, for all the bad times. I just felt, when I took my Shahada, it was a sense of relief taken off my shoulders. Yeah. And then I didn't actually realise until I started getting into Islam how much the Brotherhood and all the other things. It's crazy.
Nah, that's something else, man. Usually you hear, my friend gave me da'wah, I had friends but to do your own research, to ring up a mosque randomly, to come in, it takes a lot. And it goes back to what you said about the boxing. There's some things in life that just give you confidence to walk in your own path in life.
Yeah.
and that's what you look like you've done. It's like, I made a choice. I'm going to go to it by myself. I ain't talking to no one about it. This is me.
Yeah, I said that same day, there was a turn off. I was at the Sun and Sand roundabout. I said, I'm either going home or I'm coming to the mosque. No. I said, no, I'm putting my foot down. If I don't do it now, because I was contemplating on doing it for a few weeks. Yeah. But I just felt like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to walk into a mosque. What am I going to do in a mosque? I ain't never been in a mosque. Yeah. So
what was it though? Yeah. Do you look back now and say, like, what made me become Muslim? Of course, you said about the submission to one God. So the uniqueness, that the fact that we pray only to a God, no pictures, nothing like that. That's one thing. But was there more than that? Or was that's the main thing?
It was also so you look at other religions. I've got friends that are Christian. I was Christian myself, and it was so easy to fall off. And my friends was always falling off. They was always, even though they was Christian, they go out, they still be partying, they still be doing bad things. And when I had at the time, I had some Muslim friends as well, and they were the way they lived their life. They were so strict. Like you could give them all the money in the world to do this or eat this, like haram things, and they wouldn't do it. And I just thought to myself, I've always wanted to find the truth. Always wanted to be the best version of myself, and I felt with Islam that I would be the best version of myself.
But you got that side as well, though. I mean, there's Muslims who don't observe everything. Yeah. They haven't got that discipline. They also fall into sin as well. Meaning, you know what? Yeah, they do that. What would you say the difference between them and others is? I mean, I've got my own take, but what would you think from your perspective?
In a sense, there's other Muslims that fall into sin.
Because he said, okay.
He saw some of his friends that wasn't practicing.
No, he's talking about Christians.
I think it's the discipline, and I think it's the 5 prayers. I think when you got 5 prayers a day, it's a constant reminder. Every 2-3 hours, I've got to pray. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. Even when you're not eating certain foods, even when you're trying to, if you follow Islam, you're following like kind of not non-haram things. So I kind of thought it's a better path to follow.
The point I was trying to make, there'll be some Muslims don't pray. Some Muslims who fall into certain sins. They're drinking, they're smoking, and other things. So what I was trying to say is, look, the difference would be that those Muslims know they're doing wrong, know they are sinning, and know they need to make change. Right. And they know that they're weak in this regard. So they're asking Allah. Yeah. That would be kind of like a difference. But the other thing is, Jake, I mean, look, he mentioned something. He said, I was assuming you must have had some Muslims friends, some Muslim friends that's told you, look, if you've got any questions about submission and God and Allah, ask us. Are you saying, look, no Muslim friends, just saw a few podcasts, started reading, research?
Kind of from podcast and just research, really, just looking into it. And I always wanted to be the best version of myself. I always wanted to be in a religion where it was a strong religion. And I felt Islam was a very strong religion, a disciplined religion, and that fits into my life with the boxing and all the other things as well. So it just made sense.
A lot of people used to say, even like from before, no, I won't become Muslim. It's too strict. I can't stop my drinking. I can't stop this. But then at the same time, there's people that's like you that's looking for that.
Yeah, I'm looking for that.
And even then, yes, Islam is a strict religion in a sense that it gives you a lot of guidance. It tells you pray 5 times a day, you fast for a whole month, you give zakah 2.5% of your wealth, you can go hajj, etc., etc. But when you actually look at Islam, it's also very wide in a sense that there's many things that are halal to do. People talk about the haram police, you can't do this, you can't do it, but everything else you can do. We're talking about maybe 10, 15 things. If you actually think about it, it's not a lot of things you can't do.
Yeah, and all the things that in Islam that you can't do is things that you shouldn't do anyway. Exactly. They're bad for you anyway. So it's not like they're saying, oh, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah, don't go to sleep.
Yeah, we don't want you to do it. Yeah, we don't want you to have no fun. It's just, that's the way you should be doing things. Yeah. That's the life you should be living.
What about, like, for example, I mean, in boxing, there's been a tradition of a lot of Muslim boxers being in boxing.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Hasim Rahman, Prince Naseem, Amir Khan, and so on. Did that have an impact on you? Like, let's say, as Muslim boxers, or?
Not really. If anyone that I could at the time look back to, it'd probably be someone like, not that I looked into him at that time, but it would probably be Khabib. Like now I watch a lot of videos. Since I've been Muslim, I watch a lot of Khabib's videos. And it's just the humbleness and the discipline, the way he lives his life. I just think that if everyone was to live like that and everyone was to follow this path, the world would be a better place.
So 100%.
Yeah.
That's why, that guy, Islam, what's his surname?
Makachev.
Yeah.
Makachev. Because look, in America, they're cussing, they're swearing, mother this, mother that, and so on. So at the kind of like, the press conference or something, he swore at him.
Did he?
Yeah.
Islam swore at him?
Dustin
I heard about that.
Yeah.
For them, it's like casual, isn't it? This guy's just come back. He said, look, what did you say? No, we don't do this stuff. A sense of like discipline and respect. Look, I'm not even going to do that to your mum, let alone you do that to mum. No, we don't accept this. She's going to kick off. That shows, like morals and ethics.
Yeah. He kicked him up and then he said, sorry, I didn't mean it or something, innit?
Or in the fight.
In the fight, obviously, he made him tap.
Oh, yeah.
He tapped him out. Then I think I saw like a little clip of him saying, look, that was all for the TV. Sorry about that.
Who said that?
The
Dustin guy. He said
Dustin Poirier.
Is it Poirier or Gaethje?
No, it was Dustin Poirier. Poirier. The latest one.
Yeah, the latest.
Dustin Poirier, yeah. And the video at the end when he loses, look, man, I was all for the TV. I didn't mean it. I respect you lot.
Okay.
So it didn't...
Even like when I watch Khabib, when he goes into the fight, see how he treats his family and even like his mindset. Yeah. He just puts his trust in God. There's when he gets in the ring, there's no fear. He's got confidence because his trust is in God. We win or lose, alhamdulillah for everything.
Yeah, those guys got confidence, mashallah, man. Yeah. Extra confidence.
You have to give it. So going back to it then, it was more, like you just said, the podcast, and it was more how Islam was strict. That was the thing for
a lot of podcasts, because when you start watching about Islam, they all start coming into the feed. So my feed was just, in the end, full of Islam. And it was an hour and a half drive over to Harlow. Every day I used to go there and back. So that's 3 hours a day worth of driving.
Yeah.
So all I had the time to do was listen to podcasts. But I didn't, it started off with not like normal podcasts, not Islamic ones. But then one come in and then I was like, I like that. I want to listen to a bit more. So I just ended up listening to so many Islamic podcasts, and it just made sense in there. The Mufti Menk, there was a few. Is it Zaik or
Zakir Naik?
Zakir Naik. There's loads of them.
When you start getting to the Zakir Naiks, it's a bit more intellectual now.
Yeah. So when I started listening to them, it all started changing. Yeah.
MashaAllah. Yeah. How did your mum and that take it?
At first, it was a shock. They thought I'd been radicalized. My dad was
going to be a terrorist.
Yeah, my dad was bad for 5 or 6 months.
Was he?
Bad, yeah.
What do you mean by bad? Like what?
No talking.
Okay.
Try reading the Quran and try every single thought that was in there. So what about this then? So what about this then?
Yeah.
So I was kind of at the time, I'm new to Islam as well. I didn't really have the answers. So he was kind of Google trying to find things for me. I was on Google trying to find things for him.
No.
Yeah,
but credit to him in the fact that he even picked up the book, and even if he's trying to find faults,
do you know
what I mean? He's coming from a place of love that he doesn't want you to be maybe corrupted, etc.
Right.
Even though we know, because we're Muslim, that there's no corruption in it. From a father figure position, he's not coming there to say like you're doing necessarily a negative thing. He just doesn't want you to, maybe he's feeding from the news. He's from the news. Maybe he's a bit older than you. He's seen the whole terrorism kind of argument.
After becoming Israel, I lost my whole family due to it, and even till today, I don't speak to any of them.
No way.
Because
your extended family.
Yeah, so because they're all kind of like Millwall supporters, anti-Islam.
Okay. When you say family, what, like cousins and
kind of not a few cousins, but uncles and things like this, and so I don't uncles, aunties, things like that. I don't talk to no more. But
is it like they're outright against it, or was it just...
kind of just outright against it. Don't agree with it, just don't know why I would do it, kind of I think it's a culture thing as well, maybe. I'm not too sure. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but I just think it's kind of growing up as an English person, it's kind of, that's just the way it is growing up.
Yeah. We have a friend of ours who became Muslim many years ago, white as well. And I remember he was saying to me, bro, they look at me worse than they look at you. Talking about so-called racist people anyway, because I'm white, and the fact that I've become Muslim, they see me as a traitor.
Yeah.
Like, as in, like, you cannot be white and Muslim. Like, there's some rule somewhere written in stone saying white and Muslim don't go together.
Yeah, no.
Which is sad, really, but,
No, it's sad, yeah.
So what about now? I'm with...
so at first, my father was kind of like, he was on their side. But then after time, they started seeing me, how I was changing and... they thought I would just be something that lasts 2 weeks or say like a phase or something. Yeah. But when they started seeing me praying all the time and started being positive and becoming trying to become a better person, my father started saying, you know what? I ain't listening to the family no more. I can see he's trying to be a better person. It's made him a better person. My mother's the same. She's got friends that are Muslim. She started, now I'm Muslim. It's kind of, even my dad's got friends Albanian friends at work.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, is your son going to the mosque? And he started realise it's a good thing. There's a brotherhood going on. And it's like, they ask, is he fasting for Ramadan and things like that? And my dad's like, he's all into it now. He's
You know Reese.
Yeah, Reese, yeah.
Reese took Shahada, so he was telling me at work, his mum's work, mum told two of her colleagues, oh, my son's become a Muslim. 2 Muslim sisters there. And she said, look, they've never hugged me or anything. Suddenly, congratulations to your son. Can your son come to our house and have dinner with us? They start seeing that positive light. Any other challenge? What about in the career then, in the boxing career?
In the boxing career, it was hard at first because when I became Muslim, my Shahada was on social media.
Okay.
And at the time, I didn't think nothing of it. That was a happy day for me. I took my Shahada. I felt kind of proud of myself that I come into the mosque and
you're doing a Muhammad Ali.
And took my Shahada. So I was happy. But then a few months later, I started losing sponsors and things like that started falling off. And that's a big thing for me because that's my income, that's my living. So when that started falling off, I was like, I texted Man Shakil. I was like, just before we went to Umrah, I said, would you mind taking my Shahada video down? And I felt so bad for doing it. I didn't want to do it, but I had to because all my sponsors were falling off. My whole income finished. And I was like, you know what? All right, the videos are good. At the time, like right now, I've gone publicly with it. So I put all over my Instagram now and whatnot. But at first, it was kind of like, so many sponsors fell off. Many fell off. It was crazy.
That's crazy. Just because you become Muslim?
Yeah, just because I become Muslim, because there was like local builders and all English people at the time.
Yeah, you should have called us lot, man. We would have sponsored next time, inshallah. We're getting there, inshallah, man. We're getting there. We're getting there, man. We're paying the people low money. We can afford them, inshallah. No, but
just can afford sponsorship.
That's it, man. That's how it starts, Sheikh. That's how it starts. But look, that's another hot topic. It's like the country says they're not so-called racist. They say they're open to democracy. They're open to, multiculturalism. But then at the same time, underneath all of that, it is. Because the fact that someone like you, born in this country, becomes a Muslim, your life, what has it done? Have you hurt people? No. Have you started beating up people? No. Yeah. Have you started stealing from people? No. Have you started, doing some pedophilia? No.
Yeah.
So what have you actually done for someone to take away money from you?
No, it's definitely, I'd say the whole thing about English people not liking Muslims is the 100% race. Because if you know the religion's a perfect religion. So it's nothing to do with that. And it's very close. Even though it's not the same as Christianity, it's in some ways, there's a lot of similarities. So it's very alike.
No, so would you say, Jake, I mean, it's like some. Yeah. Again, it's like you can't say all. Yeah. It's some. And so maybe your experience with, let's say, those that are sponsoring you or certain friends and so on, it's still some. Yeah. It's not the majority of English people. Would you say that's correct? Because it's difficult to kind of just blankly say, look, everyone.
Yeah, I think the world's slowly changing now. It's becoming like people are starting to mix more because it used to be segregated groups, like whites with whites, blacks with blacks, all kinds of things like this. But now everyone's kind of coming together and the world's changing. Yeah, the world's changing.
Shane's a Millwall supporter.
Yeah.
Steve, Danny's brother, Millwall supporter. Danny,
what are you trying to push him, man? What narrative are you trying to push? Support Millwall?
No, if that's your team, mate, you can support it. Yeah, are you trying to say not to support Millwall?
Boy, they got a history of racism, Machi. I don't know about supporting Millwall, mate, but yeah. But what's your point? These people support Millwall and they became Muslim.
They become Muslims, and there's going to be others, not Millwall supporters. My point is, look, not to blanket. Blanket white, black, this and this. That's where this kind of like anti, a certain ethnicity starts. We got to learn to judge people individually. Yes, you came across some sponsors, didn't like you being a Muslim. Maybe it was a race thing. Maybe they just hate Islam.
They can't be racist because they was white, I'm guessing. But there was probably not transphobic stuff. Islamophobic.
Oh, but you know what? Transphobic.
Probably are transphobic as well if they're Islamophobic. But
No, but you know what? The thing is, how they link it to Islam is like, okay, you're a white English guy.
Yeah.
Islam is not for you. It's for let's say
For them lot.
Africans.
Yeah. So from that angle, they
look at the small things like, oh, you're gonna start dressing like this. You're gonna start dressing like this, like
this.
Yeah, like wearing kamises and things. But they don't realize that's only the culture. They don't look at the religion. They have no idea about the religion side of things. If a lot of English people looked into the Islamic side of it, like the religion side of things, their mind would change.
100%.
But they're just looking at what they can see with their eyes, not what they can see in their hearts.
Yeah, they've been duped by the media, innit? Sadly enough. The media, the movies, that's what duped a lot of people.
No, that's right.
And to be fair, Imam's point is true that the vast majority of people are probably cool with it. Remember, we went Cornwall. I always talk about Cornwall because we went Cornwall. It was a 7-hour drive.
Yeah.
Never seen a place with just so many white people because we're from London.
It's about 40, 50 of us.
Yeah.
40, 50. And you know what? We were playing football and we could see people taking pictures and stuff. Remember that day wasn't big, social media wasn't that big. If it was, we would have been on there.
Yeah.
So anyway,
viral.
there was a Muslim couple, they came, they lived, what town was it? It was a town in Cornwall.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah? And maybe Plymouth or somewhere. Yeah. And
Plymouth is...
that's in Cornwall, isn't it?
No.
Cornwall's a county, isn't it?
No. Cornwall is all the way.
Yeah.
It's Devon, yeah? Is that Devon?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's in Cornwall.
But anyway, so she said, her husband and her, the whole town is talking about you guys because they've never seen diversity like this. White, black, Asian, Arab together. We're playing in Jamaica. We're playing football. The whole town, man. Probably the next day, the local papers probably inside.
We was in Tesco. It's like, you're the guys everyone's talking about, innit? It was like, maybe, I don't know. But the point I'm making there is the people was cool.
Yeah.
Like, no, it wasn't a look of, they're Muslims or
it's just different.
It was just different. They were just cool, bro. Yeah. They're just like, you lot from another area, cool. There wasn't that kind of judge. And then you might go to other areas that are a bit more, they look at you different. So I think the vast majority of, say, UK, they're cool, man. But there is still obviously a fundamental
I think
group.
it's more like certain areas.
100%.
Certain areas. Because I think back a few years ago, there was certain areas where people would actually move to because there was like-minded, where there was a lot of, say, EDL party or not. Is it EDL parties?
Well, they're not EDL no more, but there
was a lot of parties where people would move to certain areas like Eltham and places like that because that's where a lot of English kind of racist people would move.
Yeah, okay.
So it was just normal to move into them areas. So certain areas you go to is racist.
They call it white flight, innit?
Yeah.
They call it white flight. There's a saying called white flight, meaning like certain areas that, say, Asians start moving into or blacks start moving into, a lot of white people start moving out.
Yeah.
So they call it white flight. But then what they don't realize is the Asians, after that, they come there as well. You go to Islington. Is it Islington?
Yeah.
Islington, the white people start moving over there. The Asians start becoming doctors. Boom, they move in there. So you can't run out. Once you open the door to so-called multiculturalism, unless you're going to live in the mountains where no one's going to come, people are going to come next to you that look brown, that look grey, whatever colour they are. Do you get what I mean? So we always say that racism comes from a place of ignorance.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't come from a place of intelligence.
It's kind of like what your dad told you, what your uncle told you about race. It's not what most people don't think for themselves.
100%.
See, I've always been a person that thought for myself. Like, whatever my outlook on something was, is what I would do. A lot of people follow by
their family.
Teach them. My family says this, or you can't talk to this boy because he's done this, rather than judging them for yourself and
100%.
getting your own.
But a lot of it comes from like you just said, the family. The one video that comes to mind, I don't know if you see it. These two little kids. They was on a little walk a couple of weeks ago. They was like, something Allah. It's Allah. Have you seen it? Some video.
No.
Like 10-year-old kids, Imam. 10-year-olds, but they're walking with like, I'm sure it was this EDL guy, Tommy Robertson.
Yeah, Tommy Robertson.
And you see two kids, probably 14. And dad's uncles, you can see in the video, grey bearded guys all next to them. The kid is saying, Allah, Allah, who the F is Allah? Allah, Allah, who the... No one's saying nothing to that kid, meaning we condone it because they're hearing the uncles and the dads and the granddads say it. The kids at 10, 14-year-olds are saying it now. Yeah. So what's that kid going to be in 5 years' time? Yeah. Inshallah, obviously becomes a Muslim. I hope you're watching, son. Yeah. But the point is they raise these kids to become racist. Yeah. The kid doesn't wake up one day and say, who's Allah, FF Allah. They don't say that. It's the dad saying that. And so they grow up to be racist and they think they was born racist.
If you probably asked an English white child, like, why why are you racist? You probably ain't got an answer for it.
You don't
Other
know
than
what
I've just been told to be like this. This is it. This is what I've been brought up with.
Yeah, I see my dad.
Rather than if you actually ask, why are you racist? There is no reason. There is no reason.
But also that same kid, if that kid is 2-3 years old in a nursery, is going to be colorblind.
100%.
Yeah, it's when they get to 9, 10 and they're hearing this and then they change.
Yeah,
You know, so but also, you know what it is? It's people who are poor and working class have no ethnicity to it.
Yeah.
So sometimes we're played at hating one another. Yeah. So, you know, they call it, what is it, divide and rule? You just hate. That person you're hating is poor like you.
yeah.
He
All
hasn't taken
the
your
same.
job. She hasn't taken your job. She's struggling. He's struggling. You're struggling.
Yeah.
Why hate one another? Yeah. And that's why, you know, I always mention this Malcolm X. Remember Malcolm X, his journey to Islam, what he was before. That was hatred. So white and blacks cannot mix. But nobody killed him. NYPD, FBI, Nation of Islam never did nothing to him. It's when Malcolm X became a Muslim within a year after going to Hajj. I remember, you know, you said we spoke about Khabib and Islam, that region, Caucasus. That's where the word Caucasian comes from.
Oh, okay.
He said, wait, I'm here now. And you know, something he said, two ladies came today, non-Muslims, and they were looking into Islam. And I said, look, Malcolm X, when he went for Hajj, he said, I saw white people, but they were not white. So black people, but they're not black. The color's taken away. Now you're a person. Yeah, you're a person. Look inside me.
Yeah.
So he said America needs to understand Islam to resolve the race problem. Within that year after Hajj, assassinated NYPD, FBI, CIA, Nation of Islam, because you know what? They don't want people to.
They wanted to keep the divide.
keep the divide. Keep the divide.
Even
keep
had
the hate.
assassination attempts whilst he was in Egypt, whilst he was in all these countries.
Yeah. What did he say? He said, "Look, I already know I'm dead." Yeah. One time he said, "Look,
I'm surprised I ain't dead.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So the media play a big part.
Yeah.
This hatred, because they want that division. But I think on our part, there's an angle that we maybe as Muslims don't address, which is our own shortcomings. I'm not speaking about non-Muslims now. Hindus, the Asians or something, or blacks, non-Muslims. Muslims need to know better. Muslims must know better. Muslims can't be in any country, in any environment, in any place, doing haram, selling drugs, pimping women. You understand? Because the Islamophobes use that, even though it might be a 0. Whatever percent, 1%.
It can't be given excuse.
Because you come to the mosque and you know, the vast majority of Muslims are just good people.
Yeah.
But at 0. Whatever, they can't be doing certain things because these people use that and say, you see, it's Islam. It's not even Islam. Yeah, so that I think that needs to change.
Yeah, that was a thing I realized when I first come to Islam, because obviously the day I come, I have no idea about Islam. So as I come out of the room after taking Shahada, I think you told everyone that someone just took their Shahada. So I had people coming up to me saying, Assalamu alaikum, like mashallah. And at the time I was like, what I don't know what I was like, thank you. I said thank you about 100 times that day. I didn't know what to say back to that. I just thought I didn't know what they were saying. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I was just saying thank you to everyone. But then I went outside, I got given a Quran, a prayer mat, and a few books to read into Islam and whatever. The man took me to the shop, and it was kind of like crazy. The whole time I've been a Christian, the whole time I've been, like when I go to church as a Christian, people, I'm not sure about all churches, but people used to look at me when I used to go in there like, the new boy on the block. When you walk into a mosque, you go and pray together. You may not know each other, you salam each other after, but you don't know each other. All ethnicities, all backgrounds, all races are all together as one. Where even in the church, I kind of like, in a lot of churches, I'm not too sure about in Islam, but in a lot of churches, you get the white churches, they've got the black gospel churches. There's a big divide.
Like a mixed one,
They're not together. You go into a mosque, everyone's together. It's a different kind of thing. I felt more comfortable. I've never had so much kind of love and support as when I become Muslim.
What have you learned so far being Muslim then? Obviously, how long have you been a Muslim now?
But is it a year and a half now? Nearly 2 years maybe?
2 years.
Yeah, it's nearly 2 years now, yeah.
So you've done 2 Ramadans?
2 Ramadans, and I went Umrah.
MashaAllah.
Umrah. Was it February time? Just after my fight, the day after my fight, I went to.
Still had the bruises.
I still had a black eye because I said to myself, I text Danny Dean at the time. I was like, when's Umrah next? And he was like, actually, I'm going in 2 weeks. So it was like a coincidence. So I was like, all right, book me up. I'll come as well. So we went to Umrah. I still had a black eye when I got there, but I said to myself, after my fight, I usually think, I'm gonna look back on myself. People come up to you and they're like, oh, well done, this, and this. I thought, no, I'm gonna go to Umrah. And I'm gonna humble myself rather than put all the success on myself.
Oh, you won, yeah?
Yeah, I won the fight. So I said rather than give myself all the rewards and say to myself, "Oh, well done." Yeah, when I went to Umrah, it was kind of like what I'd done in the fighting was completely forgotten about. Now it's all about Islam. So that was a good feeling.
How was Umrah?
Yeah, it was crazy because obviously I see like the Kaaba and things like that and pictures, Medina. And when I was there, what I actually realised, I see a lot of people crying. And I thought to myself, I've been Muslim a year and a half and I've come to Umrah. Some people have been waiting the whole lifetime. And I thought for me it felt good. For them it must feel
exhilarating.
They've been waiting their whole life for it.
For some, especially in Muslim countries, they're saving their whole life to come.
Yeah, they saved the whole life to come. Yeah.
So alhamdulillah. But Danny done, what? So you might want to kind of like mention this because I think I tried to message Jake a few times. Jake wasn't responding. Yeah. So I've messaged Danny, or maybe I phoned Danny. I said, Danny, look, you know what? Message him. Just find out maybe he'll speak to you a bit more stuff. Yeah. So I got Danny to kind of like contact you and maybe message you and stuff. Did something happen at that stage? We said, look, you know what? I need to take a step back away from.
So the step, like I was actually doing so much research on my own. I can start doing all the salahs, all the prayers on my own. I started learning a lot of started learning a lot of verses and chapters in the Quran. I was reading a lot. When I was up in Liverpool training, I was praying 5 times a day. Okay. Even to now, I do my five prayers a day. But everyone must have thought at that time I fell off because I weren't texting no one, weren't socializing with no one. But I didn't really know anyone. And it was my culture, and not even culture, but it was the way I always was. If I don't know you, I ain't talking to you. I didn't realize it was a brotherhood. We had to, this is the way it is. Like I'm on my own. I don't care about everyone else. I just want to do my own thing. Like as long as I'm good with my religion, I'm not interested in mixing with it. So when I spoke to Danny, Danny was probably the one that got me more into the socializing things. Because obviously when I said to him about the Umrah thing, at first he was like, I said, how many people are going? He was like, there's a few. And I was like, I'm not really good with this mixing. I'm not good with mixing. Give
me a single room.
Yeah, I don't even want to make no friends. So, but when I got over there, I realised how everyone was nice and welcoming. And that's when I started really seeing what Islam was. That's when I started seeing the Brotherhood. Because I didn't know about no Brotherhood. I heard about it in podcasts and things, but I ain't been around it to get the feeling and to understand it. So when I went to Umrah, I started mixing with people, come back and straight into Ramadan. And I said to myself, like, Danny said, oh, come down. The next day, he was like, come to the calf. I said the same thing. How many people are at the calf? I
really don't like socializing.
I don't do a lot of socializing. Never been a really socializing person. So, but I said to myself, I'm going to chuck myself in all of it and see what happens. But now I've got friends from the mosque and I've started making I'm socializing slowly.
We're struggling to say, I'm trying.
I'm getting there. Now.
And I was telling him, look, when he met Rana.
Yeah. Oh, the wrong person to meet.
No, I said, look, you're gonna have to, your weight
is gonna increase.
Start getting into the higher weights because you're gonna eat so much.
I'm telling you, bro.
So that's gone up to heavyweight. I was speaking to people saying, "Oh, you're fasting. You must be losing weight." I said, "No, I've put like 2 stone."
Yeah, that's what you can do, innit? When you don't drink, smoke, the Muslim culture is really just to link up, eat.
Shouldn't be.
Which we know we've spoke about several times at this point. It's like, there's nothing wrong with going out to eat a couple of times, but the strictness side of being fit is lost with a lot of us. It's really lost.
Danny mentioned, he said, look, you know what? I thought he was struggling.
He was struggling
with the deen and stuff. It's only when he came for Umrah, Danny said, I think he said in front of him, he said, I didn't realize how much he studied, how much he's memorized. Chapters of the Quran. He's got all his prayer on point.
He's a lone ranger.
No one really knew me personally. So they didn't know how I was.
No.
But me, I always done things on my own, training on my own, reading on my own. I didn't really want to mix with people. I was happy just doing things on my own. So it's always been. But now it's different.
It is, like Jake, Jama'ah. Yeah. The word Jama'ah means congregation. Jumu'ah, which is the Friday prayer. Yeah, and the day of Jummah, it comes from congregation. So our, Eid, the prayers, the Friday prayer, Ramadan, iftar, Umrah. Look how many people said Umrah. And then Hajj even more. So it's a community. Yeah, it's a community, but in goodness. That through a community and through togetherness, you're going to bring about change in society and positivity and in yourself and stuff. So yeah.
No, I didn't realize how big the Brotherhood in Islam was until I started seeing it and being around it, kind of thing.
A lot of people become Muslim based on the Brotherhood. Hence why people talk about it in prison. Why do so many people become Muslim in prison specifically? And that's due to the fact of just unity.
Yeah.
If you get into a fight, obviously wrongly in prison, people support you. So a lot of people become Muslim thinking, okay, if I go into Islam, I'm going to get support. Or when we're doing food cooking in prison, people see that there's halal curry being cooked. They're like, you know what, man, you lot's food looks...
it looks
There's so many different reasons. You know what? Who said they became Muslim for...
Spray.
Was it spray? That's it. He said he became Muslim for a kebab. I don't know if you saw that clip. I thought, nah, but it's true, akhi. People enter into Islam for different reasons. And the Iman increases. I'm sure there's a story of the Prophet ﷺ that after there was a war, some of the companions or whatever was asking for more wealth. Like they said to him, like, you didn't give us enough of the money.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, look, give it to them. And the angle I was getting from that is, look, they're coming to Islam. Maybe they was thinking about wealth or whatever, but give the people what they want. It maybe be after a few years, their Iman increases, akhi. You understand? Someone might come into religion for a wife.
I got to check him on his hadiths. He starts fabricating hadiths.
That was true, akhi. That was true, akhi.
Too much haram going on.
I'm telling you, you think I'm bringing in fake stuff, but the point I'm making, even there's a hadith talking about, you know, whatever you do, and
whatever reason you get into it for, hopefully it leads you to the right path.
Exactly, akhi. So sometimes a lot of people think, oh, I don't want to become Muslim because of my girlfriend, or I don't want to become Muslim because of my boyfriend. Okay, it might be that, but you never know. Entering into it now, after a few years, you become a proper Muslim. Yeah. And you start changing other things. So a lot of people fear Islam from the perspective of strictness, but take steps. We know that the deen, the Prophet ﷺ, he took 10 to 13 years for certain things to be established, meaning like you have to pray. Yeah. You have to do Umrah, you have to Hajj, or whatever it might be. It took years, akhi. Yeah. By the time Iman was in their heart, that's when people became proper Muslims. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They think they have to become Muslim the same night. They have to pray 5 times a day. They got to stop drinking alcohol. They got to get a wife. Their name has to be Hamza. They don't work
like a marathon, not a sprint.
100%.
Got to take your time with it, and how is it called? Have sabr.
Sabr. Yeah, have patience.
And I think the way you've done it, Jake, you know, like you haven't changed your name. You're still kind of like the same person. You're dressing the same way. Yeah. It's good because look, it's showing others. You know what? You don't have to change your like culture and like identity. Yeah. It's your faith that you're changing. So I'm Jake Henty, but I am a Muslim. Yeah. And you too can be whatever you want to be, Samantha, Matthew. Like but you know what? You can also be a Muslim. So I think it's a positive. In terms of what's your plans now, in terms of one, faith-wise, is it you want to do Hajj? Do you want to learn Arab? You know, we're going to start Arabic. And also boxing.
My next stage, I wanted to start learning Arabic. And I know that's going to be a struggle for me because obviously, even reading the Quran at first was hard. I can read all right, but I've never really been to school. I never had no education, basic education. So for learning for me, I've always had learning difficulties. So I thought, it's going to be hard. But inshallah, I'm going to start learning, and I'm hopefully can learn Arabic. So in the prayers, I have some understanding what they're saying.
Inshallah, yeah. That's key, akhi.
Because I understand what I'm saying in my prayers because I've read them. But sometimes they say other prayers that I don't know, and I'm like you're listening to it. Even when I put on the Quran on the radio and I'm listening, like I've got one friend, Algerian, Khalid. He's come over to England. He listens to it and he's like, "Oh, they're saying this and they're saying that." I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea. I'm just listening to it like it's music. But
that's the next stage, inshallah.
Yeah, the next day. So
boxing wise, you said you've got a fight coming up. Was it an intercontinental fight?
Intercontinental fight, yeah. So so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna get back to training back in Liverpool. I had a little problem for a while. I had a hand injury. It's a nightmare with boxing. There's always something. But gonna get back to training, speak to my manager. We've got to hopefully get the WBC Intercontinental title sorted out. And then moving on from there, try and maybe push towards a British title or something like that. Just keep pushing on.
Yeah, inshallah. Now you've got Islam, you've got tawakkul, you've got
right.
sabr.
Yeah.
You got all the positives.
Tawakkul and sabr, yeah, we're all good.
You got training, so yes, it, bro. Yeah. You're going to win the title. You're going to get world champion, inshallah.
Yeah, cool. So just to finalize, we'd like to obviously wrap up. advice-wise, we always ask, like, what advice now that you've become Muslim, you know, looking back in hindsight of your life, what's maybe a principle you live by, something that's important to you that maybe other people can learn from?
I just think to look into Islam. I mean, not saying for everyone to look into Islam, but if you look at the things in Islam, the morals, even having patience, even having tawakkul, all them things in life, all the problems that people have, depression or stress. If you find Islam and you find it correctly, I feel like that can solve a lot. It's like Islam's like a private counsellor. Like there's a lot of problems that you have will be solved by reading the Quran, looking into Islam.
I appreciate that. That's a good one, actually. The private counsel. I might have to use that one.
I always feel like that sometimes, because over the years I had a lot of problems. I was going to counsellors. I was seeing psychiatrists. A lot of things. And I thought to myself, all these things that they're teaching, Islam teaches it 100 times better.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, Islam teaches everything: morals, ethics, values.
Have you read the life of the Prophet ﷺ yet?
Yeah, the Sealed Nectar. Yeah, I'm onto that now.
Yeah, that's good, actually, man. You learn so many principles, etiquettes and manners from how he lived his life.
That's right. Yeah.
How he dealt with things, how he dealt with his wives, how he dealt with people in war, how he dealt with, you know, corrupt people, good people, wherever. You learn a lot from that, man. I think that for me was a book that teaches you a lot of how to just live your own life. Do you get what I mean? Because we're going to get that. We're going to have issues with our wives. We're going to have issues on the streets.
And a big thing as well, I think, is gratitude. Being thankful for what you got. Because sometimes we always say, oh, I'm not thankful, I haven't got this. Or you look at someone else, oh, they've been on holiday here, or he's just got a new car and you ain't got that. But you've always got to have gratitude. Say, oh, thank you for what I have got. Inshallah, I'll get there soon. But for right now, be thankful for what I have got. It could be worse.
Jake, can we get some Quranic recitation from you? Any chapter that you want to recite?
Don't do this to me right now. don't do this to me right now.
Imam is the number one, akhi.
Anything that you want.
What's Al-Fatiha? How does it start?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, that one?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, ghayril maghdubi alayhim wal-dhalin.
Ameen.
Jazakallah khair.
Good effort, man. Good effort.
Trying.
No, that's it. Akhi. Everything in life, you start from somewhere. And the fact, people don't really realize that's a whole different language you're reading in right now. That's like someone from Africa reading
still learning English.
You know what I'm trying to say? So, akhi, it's a big step to learn a whole different language. And you know, may Allah accept it from you and make it easy for you, inshallah.
Ameen.
Ameen wa jazakumullah khair to everyone watching, and we'll catch you all on the next one. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace.